My guest today is a bikini barista and content creator from Everett, Washington. Her adult-rated content can be found at katrinaxkane.com. I'm excited to welcome Katrina Kane.
Hello.
Thanks for coming on.
Heck yeah.
Let me get you a little bit closer. Let's bring that mic a little bit. You can pull it your way.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just so that people can
you
get all.
Better?
There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. It should be fun.
Excited to do this.
Just a full disclaimer for anybody watching or listening, just from the front end here. This is going to be a lot of discussion about a lot of different things. So probably not the PG version of this podcast. There'll be some adult content discussed. So if you don't want to listen to that or watch it, please just tune out now. But if you are watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, and throw in a comment for Katrina or myself, and let us know what you think of this episode throughout. But thank you for coming on. Logan Cantrell, a friend of mine, another comic, recommended you. Yeah. I've been wanting to talk to somebody that is in this occupation and space. How long have you been doing Bikini Barista stuff?
Yeah, it's been 7 years now, almost 8.
And you're caffeine free right now? This is you're on a detox from it?
Yeah, I am. It gets kind of crazy. I during a shift, you just I don't know, the drinks are good. I don't know, especially once you start making them for yourself for a long time. The drinks are really fucking good. So you just want to drink them all day. And
what's your go-to?
It's not smart. In the mornings, I always drink a coffee. So, I'm kind of difficult with my drinks. So I'll drink a cookie dough caramel macchiato with oat milk.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And an extra shot usually. But yeah, I usually kind of start the day off with that. And then by the middle of the day, I'll drink a Lotus Energy drink with either white peach, watermelon, something with white peach. It's usually really good. And
I just tried the Lotus recently.
Really?
Yeah, they're good.
They're so good.
They taste really good. It's clean tasting too. It's not as
so much better than battery acid, aka Red Bull.
Yeah, you guys sell the shit out of Red Bull, right?
Yeah, we do. We do a lot. But I personally, since Lotus has been a thing, I am way bigger fan of Lotus. But
yeah. How heavy of a user are you though? In terms of how many, because you're detoxing right now, you mentioned it before we started, how much caffeine are you drinking a day?
So much. It kind of gets to the point where I'll drink so much coffee that I start oh, just 1 extra shot. Oh, 2 extra shots. 3. And then I'm for flavor, I'll be never mind. I'll do a white coffee shot, which is semi-flavorless. Mm-hmm. But 2.5 times the amount of caffeine as a regular shot. So then I'll be all right, I'll just do 3 shots and a shot of white coffee in there. And
so that's 5.5 caffeinated drinks.
Yeah. And not even just that, but usually before I even have my morning coffee at work, when I get there, I just down 2 shots of white coffee so I can just get myself pumped up because I usually have a line at 4:30. So I'm just I got to get ready to get this rush. And then as soon as I have a break from my rush, I'll make my coffee.
Okay. So how much of your actual business is just straight, just coffee? There's nothing, in full disclosure, we need to be, from a legal standpoint, we're going to talk in generalities at times. You can be smart about what all of this means, but we're trying to protect our guests too. But are there people that are just going for the drink and there's no additional reason besides that?
Yeah, especially with where I work specifically, it's we definitely get mostly men or bikini coffee customers, but we do get some family friendly customers as well.
What is that dynamic like?
It's pretty funny. There's definitely a price difference. So we have 2 menus, and we have our family friendly menu and our regular bikini coffee menu. It's interesting because a lot of times, especially women, they'll come in and they'll just be oh, I didn't know it was one of those stands.
Yeah.
But I don't know. there's very few people that are just coming for the coffee. Like I wouldn't even say like 1% of people come just for coffee.
It's so weird because I didn't grow up here.
Yeah.
And I've never heard of this in any other part of the country.
Yeah.
Like I've heard of drive-through like liquor stores in like Kentucky,
Yeah.
but the Bikini Barista, I got up here, I was like, what the hell? And do you know why it exists up here? Like what about this region? Because it's the only place I know.
Yeah. So just like a little fun history lesson. I don't know why I have such knowledge about this, but basically like because we're just like heavy on coffee here. Obviously Starbucks started here. Washington's just always been very heavily on coffee, drive-through coffee especially. And then like bikini stands were created like way back in the like mid 2000s, like the like 2007-ish, like 2005, 7, somewhere between there. And it actually, I believe, started with a male bikini stand.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't think there's any left anymore. But it started with male bikini stand. And then I think someone just kind of was like, huh, I bet this would be profitable with women. And
they were not wrong.
it was born. Yeah. And they were not wrong. Things were a lot different than they are now. Even like 7 years ago when I started, things are a lot different.
How so?
One big thing, dress code. Like it's definitely changed so much. Like back 7 years ago, back then, like we were still literally just wearing like actual bikinis or wearing like a bra and like panties, but like not like insane thongs and like pasties or like no pasties. These days, like it's just kind of like girls are just really in like something fishnet see-through, like nothing else.
When you made the decision to work there, like what was the appeal versus a Starbucks? Like if you could have worked.
I mean, the appeal was definitely money. Like I was 18. I had been working at this restaurant since I was 15. And I got kicked out of my house 1 month into my senior year of high school. And I just really needed another job. A friend of mine was working in Bikini Coffee and she just kind of was like, you should come work here. And I was like, honestly, I need the money. So I was like, yeah, fuck it. And I did my interview. I started working there. I was like so shy at first. I would just wear like cheeky panties and like bralettes and stuff. Like it's so funny, like where I started to like where I ended, where I was just like literally in like a G-string and like pasties on.
And like how much, like compared to like the job you had before, what was the difference in terms of financials?
An insane amount. I mean, I was just like hosting and I moved up to like waitressing at this family like ran restaurant, making like $9.49, I think was the minimum wage at the time. And like tips, which tips were good, but like they weren't like, they were like good for like a 15 to 18-year-old for sure, but no, at the Bikini Coffee stands, I mean, realistically, people were at that time still just paying you just because you're like you look sexy. So like they would pay for their expensive drink and then they would tip like 20 to 50, sometimes like $100, and that's it. Wouldn't even ask for anything.
In just like a 3-minute transaction?
Yeah. Damn. It was super quick, super busy all the time.
So like when you were that age, like what was like a big day financially?
I feel like the most I ever made in a day, like probably back then, was probably like $800-900 in a day.
For
just in
what,
tips.
an 8-hour shift or something?
Not even. Like these are like 5-hour shifts.
God, that's wild.
Yeah, but like that wasn't like all the time. My stand was very strict versus a lot of other stands. Back then, they still are. They're still around to this day, but there was 15 locations and now there's 3. because they're still running it the same way that they always have ran it. And the times have changed.
Yeah.
The times have changed a lot. So money there was like fine until like other people were noticing that like, oh, if I go to this stand, well, she shows me something for some money, like, you know, for a little extra money. And so it just kind of started to dwindle down a little bit. And then I switched over to a different stand and their rules were kind of pretty much the same. And like, it was busy, but not like how it is now. Like
Yeah.
it's so different. Like I feel like back then it was like busier, like you'd have more customers, but now I have like less customers, but I make more.
Okay, so like today,
Mhm.
generally speaking,
Yeah.
like if you were at like a great day is like $800 to $900. Like what have you heard at least of people making on a comparable shift today?
Oof. Oh my gosh.
Like if you heard like a really good day for a girl or guy.
Today, these days, I mean, people are making really good money these days. So,
Really?
like to be honest, like a really fucking good shift to these days would be like anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 in a shift.
Damn.
Yeah.
Speaking of money, we did set up a Patreon for our podcast. So if you do want to check this out and support us, it's patreon.com/FNF pod. But God, $2,000 to $3,000. And it's straight cash, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's
there's
just cash. Mostly cash. We try to encourage our customers to bring cash. Especially because if you are tipping on card, most places make you take your tips out of your till at the end of your shift. And like if somebody wants to tip you like $100, $200, $300, it's
there's
like,
not always that.
there's not always that to like pull out, especially if it's multiple doing it.
And I'm sure
So-
reporting reasons too for people
Also,
like
yeah, yes. I've definitely worked at some places that did not want us to ring in our cash transactions.
yeah.
You know, for whatever purpose they wanted us to do that for.
So for those types of places, like we were talking ahead of time about,
Yeah.
generally speaking, these shows, like
Yeah.
there's two menus at these places that exist.
Yeah.
What describe that for me? What a show is or what it encompasses for someone.
So people will have, yeah, you're correct, a menu and then like a secret menu as well. Typically people will have their prices for what they want to charge for someone to get flashed, whether it's like your boobs, your coochie, everything, whatever. Some people like charge to like for people to be able to jack off, like all of these things. People have their different prices. But yeah, that's kind of like was a big thing that started slowing down all of these like competing coffee shops that were like doing so well for a long time. And now like you'll see those coffee shops that didn't conform to that typically like are either out of business now or like have like little locations now at this point.
What is like when somebody does order that off the menu,
Yeah.
are there just cars behind them? Like there's just a line of everybody's waiting for that person to finish?
Yeah. So, but shows are literally just a flash. So it's not like anything long.
Mhm.
And typically it's a very quick thing. Like people will ask a girl for like, oh, do you do shows? Or they'll like ask if you have any specials, or they'll just whatever code they want to say it in. They'll ask, and the girl kind of usually will tell them the price. And then they usually just pay it like right there, like while they're paying for their drink. And then it's just like a quick flash of like 5 to 10 seconds and then just move on.
But if somebody's like paying for to get themselves off, like does everybody just sit behind them waiting?
So one thing I will say, like I said, about these days versus back in the day, things have definitely slowed down. So if you do have a line for some reason, like I mean, in the mornings it'll definitely be like super busy, but usually it's like a car at a time, like kind of thing. Not super often with like lines anymore. But typically, if somebody wants to pay for that, girls I know will not want to miss out on that money. So usually they'll just tell the customer to just like wrap back around, and customers usually have no problem doing that. So like pretty much they'll just kind of just loop around the stand and just go behind the line and just come back if
What is
it's
okay?
too
So
busy.
what's the appeal of this though? Like, it's 4:30 in the morning. Like, I just can't understand. Like, if I was going, I was on where most of these people going to on their way to work.
Yeah. So I will say a lot of oh my gosh, I almost said I mean I guess you said I can say like whatever. So
Yeah.
like a lot of like guys work really early in the morning. They usually like start at 5 or 5:36. So usually those are like guys that are coming by to get their coffee in the morning, and they usually want like coffee and a treat of some sort.
It's just such an aggressive way to start your day, isn't it? Like, I mean, you had to like pound 2 white coffees. Like, are you mentally even like, I don't know, maybe I'm not like a morning sex person or whatever, because I know some people are for sure. They wake up, that's like the first. I
Yeah.
just can't even, I can't even eat in the morning. I'm so like out of my mind, just still trying to wake up.
Yeah, to be honest, like trying to think about it from the other end, I I mean like I think women are beautiful, I think they're sexy, I think women are hot, all that jazz. Would I be up that early to go and get flashed by a bikini barista and pay like $50? No.
That's
I
crazy.
wouldn't, but then again, men think with their penises a lot more often than women think with their vaginas. So I feel like for men, the appeal just comes from like, I think a lot of people, especially when they start coming to bikini stands, at first they're just like, oh, I heard this crazy thing. Like,
It's the mystique. Or,
yeah. And
yeah.
then they come by, and then like, the more you talk to a girl, the more like open she gets. And oftentimes, if a girl is doing shows, she'll at some point get comfortable with the customer enough to where she says something. Or if they already like know, like a friend goes by there and then they like want to experience it, like,
Word of mouth.
and then just like, I don't know, it just, people get addicted to it, I guess.
Really?
But typically it's a lot of older men usually.
That makes sense.
So like I feel like a lot of those guys are either like guys with the wife at home where they're like just like they're settled, they're old, they're like, they want to see something that excites them a little bit more these days, or like
It's just so crazy. They're doing that right before they go into their professional environment. That's so, but to go like literally, 2 hours before or whatever, like they're in this meeting with a bunch of professionals, but right before work, they did this.
I think also though, a thing like they probably think about or discuss maybe even is the fact that, I mean, their coworkers are probably also in my line, their boss is probably also in my line.
That's
like,
so crazy.
So it's kind of like, I feel like people just are kind of, or also sometimes people like it because it is more discreet than like an online profile of something of some sort. Although there are guys that make Instagrams to follow us and stuff, but I know a lot of men that don't have any profiles. They just like try to keep your schedule like memorized, if you have a consistent schedule, and so they can like come and see you, be more discreet. Also, like in person, for some reason, just does it better for a lot of these men than like online.
It's like the edging thing too, right?
Yeah.
Where they're not cheating,
Yeah.
but they're like getting very close, and they get to experience that I mean, so they get addicted. I mean, are there people that you've heard of that just like have wasted their savings away chasing this.
100%. I've even had like, I mean, just sex work in general wise, like I've had people literally tell me that like they just spent their rent money on me.
And how does that feel? Like, is it
Honestly, like I don't feel bad because I'm like, you did that. You made that choice.
Yeah. It's a weird business where it's like by nature it is somewhat parasitic where like
mhm.
you rely on another person in order to get but you're working.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I'm like,
it's
it's like I'm
morally it's
working.
challenging to deal with.
I feel like in the beginning, I used to feel bad for some of these guys, like that would just come by and like spend their last, like literally just like not have enough money to like go and I don't know, do just stupid shit like fill up their gas tank or like get lunch at work today, like they just like, or just like you know, I used to feel bad about things like that and people just not having finances for certain things, but nowadays I just with how grimy most of these men are, I just don't feel bad anymore.
So have you found yourself in any threatening situations or like anything scary?
Yeah, definitely. Funny enough, I've been followed home a couple of times. Never like to my actual home because I pay attention.
Yeah.
But I actually the first time I ever got followed home, I actually wasn't even working at a bikini stand. I just was at one getting a drink. Um yeah, and like me and the girl are just like shooting the shit talking about like, you know, being bikini baristas and like yada yada. And it was a guy at her other window. He was still just sitting there waiting. And she's like, "Is he still there?" And I was like, "Yeah." She goes over, she's like, "Did you need anything?" And he's like, "Oh, I just wanted another napkin." And so then we think he leaves. We're still just talking, whatever. And she gets a customer. I'm like, boom, I gotta go, you know? So I leave and like out of nowhere, I'm like in this lane and like the dude is behind me. And I'm just like, or no, he was beside me actually, and he rolled down his window.
Oh god, that's so creepy.
And I was like,
And
I
he's
just rolled
just
down my window
smiling,
and he's
right?
like, "Hey." He was like, "You know her?" I was like, "No, I was just getting coffee. Like we're just chatting." He was like, "Oh, like," he's like, "You like girls like she does?" I was like, I was just like, I'm just gonna roll up my window, like whatever. And I was thinking like I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, thinking like maybe did I drop something wrong with my car? Like, you know, maybe he like noticed and like
Well, I'm sure
but
you're
no.
somewhat desensitized too to like you're around creepy people all the time. So you're
100%.
like, I'm gonna just lean into this for a second, and then
Yeah.
oh, this is much worse than I thought it would
Yeah,
be.
100%. It's actually a problem sometimes because I'll be out at the bar sometimes and I'll start working and I'm like, stop working. You're at the bar. Like you don't have to. Like just because like men will try to talk to you, try and buy you drinks, yada
Yeah.
yada, and then I always get into like Katrina mode. I just like gotta like, all right, like let's get this guy to come to my coffee stand or let's get this guy to come to my strip club. Like
Mhm.
let's and it's
Well,
you know,
you have OnlyFans too, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I checked out some of your stuff. It's great work. I
Thank you. Appreciate it.
anybody watching that's into that stuff, make sure what's the link to it? It's
OnlyFans.com/Katrina X Kane.
yeah, and follow her on Twitter too. Um, does it like when you're doing all of that? Does it create blurry lines for you personally and like what you want? Like, is dating difficult?
No.
No.
No. Honestly, sex work has made dating way it's made me raise my standards a lot higher. Also like for the past like 2 years, I dated women that were both sex workers as well. So that was pretty beneficial. My current partner, he is completely like new to this. Like he's never like done sex work, never like dated someone who like was actively doing sex work at all. So I think for me, I just go straight in with like, I just go straight in with like, I do porn. Like, so just letting you know,
Just straight
like
up.
just straight into it.
By the way, I just realized, did that guy follow you all the way home? We just
no,
jumped over
sorry.
that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have ADHD, so my brain will
Same
literally
here.
just boom.
Like, I just don't want anybody listening. Like, so what happened there?
So no, he ended up like hopping behind me. I'm in a turn lane, so like he ends up like last minute hopping behind me, and that's when I was like, all right, this man's trying to follow me. Like I tried to like last minute turn to another lane, and he would do it too. So I ended up just driving to like this gas station that was by like a police station. And he didn't even.
That makes
Yeah, he
sense.
just turned around. So
God, that's so creepy.
yeah,
All right,
it
but
was
back
terrible.
to porn.
Back to porn.
So your first date with somebody, you just lay it out right away.
Yeah, I don't even usually let a first date happen before I'm usually very just public and open about it.
Transparent.
Like if whether I'm meeting someone from Twitter, Instagram, or Tinder, like what's the other one that was new?
Hinge.
Hinge. Yeah, like Hinge. I'll like have in my profile like I like am a sex worker. So like you kind of, you just kind of got to be okay with it. Not sometimes, but a lot of times I will get people that just are like, "Oh, well, can I make a video with you?" Like, but you like siphon through those ones and eventually you can find someone who's just like, "Oh, yeah, that's fine. It's a job. It's work." Like because that's to me what it is. It's just work.
What would be, in your opinion, the pro and con of dating somebody that's in that line of work?
If you happen to be a jealous person, I personally am not, and like I try to date people that aren't as well. Yeah, like dating someone that does porn or any type of sex work is not usually easy. I know a lot of girls whose boyfriends do not like it, and like I know a girl who told me recently that she sent a nude to her boyfriend and he just like didn't say anything, didn't reply, and then she was like, hello, like, and he was like, well, it just doesn't feel the same since you post it for everyone to see on OnlyFans. I'm like, what? I would still
While
think,
she's paying his
like,
rent,
what?
though.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's honestly there's a lot of girls that are like that, and I can't even lie, I've been there before as well. Where like I've had exes where I was the breadwinner and just like dating a loser pretty much. But now, yeah, I keep my standards pretty high.
So when you're dating a loser like that, what's the attraction usually? I've always been curious about this with women that like, or just people in general, where they're with somebody that like they're just carrying so much of the weight. What is the appeal, at least initially?
I think so with one of my like ex-partners, my appeal to him was just like we knew each other from high school and like we reconnected after high school.
Is this Logan?
No. No, we did not go to high school together at all. We actually
No.
anyway.
Just a joke.
Yeah, we're gonna skip past that. Anyway. No, one of my ex-partners, he like we went to high school together, so like I remember him just being super sweet, all that, yada yada. I just like we started reconnecting, kind of hooking up a little bit, and just from there, I don't know, we just started seeing each other and it was fine at first. But then like he was like working at Starbucks and he was working part-time because he was in college full-time. And so I guess my thought process was just kind of like, okay, like we like fell in really deep, really fast. So we were like planning our future together, yada, yada. And I was just thinking, okay, he's in school. Like he's trying to create a better future. Like he was always like top of the class in like all throughout high school.
This was an investment.
So that, yeah, I was thinking of it kind of like that. Like also I'm a very caring and loving person, and like one of my like love language is gift giving.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like it just started with little things where like I just like, oh, I'll pay for dinner or like something, and he doesn't say no, or something, or like, let's split this, and like he doesn't
And
say
you're just buying
no, and then
PS5s like 2 weeks later.
I literally bought him a brand new MacBook, brand new.
Damn. So for anybody listen, you're not single right now? It's
I am
just for
not
any losers
single.
on.
I do not date losers anymore. I try to stay far away from
So
them.
was it based in like a place of it felt like you were needed and it felt good to like provide for somebody and like not to get super Freudian, but
I feel like at first it felt really good. Like I just would like help out with some things sometimes, but then it got to the point where like he was like 20 at the time and I was 22.
mm-hmm.
So like I was buying weed for him all the time. And like then it got to the point where like he would like, oh, I only have enough to like buy this really shitty weed. Like, and I just like didn't want to. One, it smells super bad. Like really shitty weed smells horrible too. Like, and I don't smoke weed. Mm-hmm. So like, and two, I just, being a nice girlfriend, you're like, no, you want to get your boyfriend the best.
You don't want to get a headache from that. Like,
so I'd be like, oh, I'll just get him the like nice, like $100-something, like fucking half ounces. And like, then it turned into me doing that like every week. And also like I was waitressing and stripping at the time and like taking some bikini shifts like in between as well. And it turned into me paying our rent. And then it turned into me paying a lot of our bills, his gas. Like
I have to so it didn't work out.
No.
That guy must be sitting around and just like I screwed up. Like I had it so good.
No, he's probably doing fine because his parents kind of give him everything he wants.
Okay.
So I'm sure
He'll
he's
be
doing
good.
fantastic.
Yeah. But back to OnlyFans.
Back to OnlyFans.
I do have just some general questions about like, being in this space, is there any like shame associated with that stuff? Like initially was there, and do you feel weird about it at all, or like long term, any concerns?
I think like in the very beginning, I would like hide it from like my like family and like church friends when I was going to church in the very beginning, but slowly I just kind of stopped caring, and like I got to the point where like I really just don't care anymore. I really enjoy sex work. I'd love to do porn full time, so I'm like, it's not shameful for me, and like my dad knows, like pretty much everybody knows.
How does he feel about it?
Well, when I told him, he was silent on the phone for like 3 minutes, and then he was just like, my phone's dying, I gotta go, and didn't talk to me for 3 months. So
Fuck.
Yeah, but recently I brought it up on the phone again, and he said, we already talked about that, we're past it. I was like, we didn't talk about it, I just said it, and then you were like,
weird
right,
about
I'm not gonna talk to you for 3 months.
I have to imagine though, for a dad, that's like just there's a lot of emotion tied to it.
I don't know. I have an older sister, and she was stripping like for a long time, and like lots of sex work things for a long time. Like she lived in Vegas, like too.
So he should have been ready.
Yeah. So in my opinion, like I just kind of figured he'd be like just more nonchalant about it.
Does he go to the other stands though?
No. Actually, I don't even know. I don't know if my dad goes to bikini stands. I don't even want to think about that. But luckily we live very two different places, so I will not run into him if he does. God.
That is so weird.
I hope not. I know like my cousins like used to go to like the strip club, and I've definitely ran into them a couple of times. I usually just like avoid them.
That's my buddy and I went to one, I don't know, a couple years ago, and he ran into like his best friend's sister, and he was just like, oh God, like he grew up with her.
Like, yeah, it's like his
basically
like
like a sibling for him.
Yeah, I feel like there's occasional stuff where like stuff like that will happen. The city I grew up in, I ended up working at a club over there. Mm-hmm. So like I definitely saw a lot of people from like high school or like teachers as well. And that one's the really funny one.
Did you like work with them?
Yeah.
And what was it? Was the dialogue ever really like strange?
It's weird to think about someone like being that way that you like grew up being taught by. But like money is money, and I always put on like my Katrina face when I go. Or
Did
back
they
then I was going
remember
by
you, though?
glamour actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Was it what subject had they taught?
Ooh, it was a substitute teacher, but he subbed all the time. So it was kind of like any class.
Huh.
And he was very, very well known in like my whole school district, and specifically like from like junior high to high school, like literally.
Really?
He was always at one of my schools. Like at least like once a day I would like see him.
Does he still teach?
Yeah. Yeah. He still teaches, and actually come to find out he actually had been like a regular at the strip club for a long time.
Huh.
And still is. I see him occasionally. It's kind of weird to think like, wow, you used to teach me and now I'm on your lap.
There's a lot. Yeah, I don't want to really unpack that if that's okay.
Yeah, me either.
For the OnlyFans stuff, I did have I haven't ever shot porn.
Yeah.
And like it's weird to say.
A lot of people.
Is there any like behind the scenes type like misconception or things you wouldn't think about that like when you were actually doing it inside baseball with shooting porn that would be interesting to hear?
To be honest, like, yeah, like people look at porn and they just like see this like 45 minutes to an hour like scene that's just like a girl just getting dogged the whole time, right? It's not like that. It's not like that at all. Like scenes are very like cut, like literally very like, all right, do this position like for a second. Let's cut it. Let's go here. Like, all right, like he might bust. Let's give him a second. Let's lay the water. Like, let's do this. Let's get into this really uncomfortable position that like nobody would ever fuck in, but it looks really good on camera. So like, let's do that. It's so much like that. And then like if somebody does bust early, they usually just will like get a cum shot scene really quickly, and then you just go fix your makeup, blah, blah, blah. Most of these guys are like taking like performance enhancing pills, so they're still hard, and then you just keep going.
Just keep going.
And just put that at the end.
Do they like shoot into themselves? So I've heard that there's like a injection Viagra. Never seen that.
I know some people that like have done the shots and have done like enhancements to where they're just like now have massive dicks. But
wait, there's actual physical enhancements?
There are. Yeah.
Can you tell like that it's enhanced?
It's not necessarily. No, you can't
it's
really
like
tell.
Filler,
but,
isn't it?
I don't know exactly what it is, to be honest, but I just know some people that like definitely have gotten it done or gotten that. Yeah, it's interesting. Honestly, it's just like, but that's the industry of porn. Like you have to like, I mean, so many people like just feel like, especially these days still, like you have to have a huge penis, which is kind of why OnlyFans is nice. Cause like nowadays, like you can have like a small to average penis and like be fucking making hella money on OnlyFans.
I did have somebody ask, friend, I don't know if they wanted to be named, so I'll leave it. But interested in getting into creating like XXX content. Like, what advice or what does it take to get started creating it? And then, what advice do you have for establishing and maintaining boundaries with clients in like the sex work area? I guess those are two questions, but so equipment and boundaries.
I usually wouldn't answer these kind of questions, but I will today.
And if you don't want to, it's okay. Like
No, I like my thing is I just like people to pay me for information. So many people ask me all the time like for free information on how to do sex work. It's like I had to learn for myself by myself.
Yeah.
But I will say like client wise like or depending on what type of sex work you're doing. Like me, I do a lot of trade work with other content creators. I'm really strict about who I'm creating with. So for safety purposes, like I always make sure I'm only creating with someone who is getting talent tested, which is a testing service for creators that can give you a verified full board test. It's expensive. Here in Washington, it's $285.
Damn.
Yeah, for a full board test. And I only create with people that are going to do that. And also, I only create with people that have some type of establishment, like they like are somebody like of some sort, like, or I have verified people that can tell me that they've worked with them and they're like a safe person of some sort. A lot of times girls will just get into the OnlyFans thing and not know anything and just kind of start working with people. And then that's how like STDs happen. And like, not just that, but like you find out like people are just doing just crazy things or like women I've heard getting assaulted as well.
Like during the act?
Yeah. Like, I mean, there's a lot of times these guys will get into like OnlyFans and stuff thinking like, hell yeah, I get to just fuck girls all the time. And like, so that's like what they'll do. But then they think also like, oh, we're off camera. Like I'm going to put the moves on her. And a lot of girls, or I mean, I guess people in general, some people just are too nervous to say something to where they're just like, I don't want to do that or something. And like, then you like end up like getting assaulted basically.
Damn.
Just, yeah. So I try to like really check people out, specifically men.
Yeah.
Really check them out to make sure like this is a good creator. This is like someone who I trust.
Is there usually, so
its work.
It's when you're shooting like that, it's you, the talent, the person producing. So like a camera operator.
So it depends on it really depends because sometimes it's just you setting up a camera. Sometimes it's you setting up a camera and doing like your own like thing on your phone as well. And then sometimes you're like full on production, like cameras everywhere, like, you know, going in, there's people in the room,
Yeah.
like so it's kind of all over the place with how it is usually. But if I am doing like trade work where it's just me and one other person, typically we like have a camera set up and then also have, like actually a lot of people have like two phones. So usually we'll have like two cameras set up and then like somebody's shooting like POV as well. So you can get
Does
both
this
shots.
resemble one of your setups at all?
Yeah, actually.
Is
Yeah.
everybody that comes in there like, it looks like we're about to shoot porn in here.
Yeah, basically things can definitely look a lot like this. Yeah, it also is funny sometimes when like you're shooting a scene and somebody's like, especially somebody you know is filming for you. And they just like, I think this one time we were doing like this BDSM scene with my friend Lethal and my friend Lydia and her ex-boyfriend now. But we're doing this scene and my friend Chris is like filming. And I think like Lethal just got like smacked so hard. And so Chris just looks and he goes, and like we just look over and she just starts like, oh my gosh. It's like, so it gets funny like sometimes like filming just like, that's why I'm like, it's not actually what people think all the time.
No,
There's
that was why I
so
was
many
curious.
times.
Is there's got to be like some funny, like a queef or like
Oh,
a
like
just
so many funny things. Like even like my friend Lydia had this like mint in her mouth, these like fizzy mints that like make you like really salivate. And she's like spitting on me, right? And at one point she accidentally like spit the whole mint and it like hit me in the eye. And I'm like over here just like, I'm always like the type of person where like I don't want to ruin a scene.
Just power through.
I just want to power through, right? So I'm just like, fuck it. I'm like on this like sex swing and I'm just like, all right.
And
I'm just powering
it's like
through.
Alka-Seltzering
And
in your eye.
Literally, and I just had to at some point. I was like, all right, guys. I was like, I gotta stop it. I was like, this mint is in my eye. And I like had to flush my eye out and then get back in the scene.
Yeah. Where was that high school teacher with like the eye washing station when you need him?
Right?
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Well, I want to be like cognizant of your time and stuff. Where can people find all your content online? I know we mentioned your OnlyFans, but like if people want to check out your stuff, they want to support you, where can they find that?
Yeah. KatrinaXKane.com has like all of my links to everything. Also, if you just look up Katrina Kane on Pornhub, you can find little samples of the videos that you can purchase on either OnlyFans or ManyVids. Literally all of my social medias are all Katrina X Kane. No
smart.
underscores, no extra E's, no nothing. Like it's all no backup accounts. So Katrina X Kane, anything.
Hell yeah. And then I did want to just circle back to the Bikini Barista stuff.
Of course.
I had one follow-up question. It's just like, so you said like, the start of the secret menus, they start at like, a simple flash.
Yeah.
Like, what does it escalate to? Like, what is the most excessive thing that you've heard of?
Oh my gosh.
Or like the most expensive thing on even the secret menu?
The most expensive thing, okay.
That you've heard of.
Back when I worked in Port Orchard, prices were a lot higher than, or not a lot higher, but like a little higher than they are, I hear now. And so, I mean, people were literally paying, or people were like doing like, oh my gosh, like $200 for like flashes. And then like, I personally will never let a customer touch me, but there are some girls that charge like $500 to like just touch your boob. And like, these people are paying it.
Market is not good for this.
There's also like pussy pops, which I also will never do because I literally don't ever want to get a yeast infection. Like, no, like what the fuck? I'm sorry, just girls that do pussy pops. Like, why would you want to give yourself a yeast infection? But yeah, where they like.
I'm a very sex positive person. There's some stuff where it's not hygienic.
There's guys who like will want you to like pee or spit in their cup, like their like coffee.
Yeah.
Too, and they pay like really ridiculous amounts of money for it too.
Because I actually had an ex who was friends with a girl that did this, and she said it was like the guy was gonna pay her like $300 to like shit in a cup.
Yeah, I've known some people that definitely do that
like,
too.
How is that even? You do it on command, or is it like, hey, come back, I'll text you when it's done, or like?
I feel like for things like that, a lot of times customers will like talk to you about it,
coordinate it,
yeah,
and then you just come and like
it.
pick up your to go.
Well,
yeah. Like again, sex positive person, but that's really
there's some extremes for sure. Things get even more extreme. Like,
what's the most expensive thing you've ever heard somebody pay for?
Sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like sex at the stands or
so it actually
jobs.
At the stand, like they get into the stand.
Yeah, people have definitely like, yeah, like specifically the location I'm actually at right now before was a full-on bikini coffee stand. Like now we're like hybrid in the middle, but they were actually kicked off, which is another reason why we're not allowed to be bikini at this location. But they were just a drive-through before, and now we're a full coffee shop. And they had like blacked out windows. It's huge in there. There's a couch in there.
Yeah.
Girls
Damn.
were definitely letting people inside and doing a lot of stuff. So,
Well, I appreciate you coming on, Sharon. Like, this was super fun, and I'm sure like some people watching and listening enjoyed themselves. If you did listen to the episode and enjoy it, or watch us on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notifications bell so you don't miss our upcoming content. And then also, as I said earlier, we did set up a Patreon. If you want to support us, it helps a lot. It's patreon.com/FNFpod. And as always, follow us on Instagram at FNFpod. Too many things now. Thank you, Katrina, for coming on.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're going to leave you guys with Jaga.
I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. My wave pool, my wave pool. Welcome to 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 my wave pool.